Good evening. It's a new season, a new studio, the same old faces presenting the show, but we've got a new title. This is ILFL Soccer Night and we are here on NTV. This season, I've got Rashid Ali to my left to kick off the season with me and Cameron Zaman as well with his head full of stats to keep us all interested in what's going to happen. Brand new season, we've got two divisions, but it's a leaner, meaner, fitter and stronger league that we've got. And we have our two games for you tonight. Coming up, we have a game between FC Brick Lane and Beaumont FC. But first, we have to start with the champions from the 2012-13 season. That was Stepney FC, who kicked off their campaign against Cannon FC, who have come up from the division below to mix it with the big boys. It was a blustery weekend, but let's see what's happened. We're going to get straight into the football action, and then we'll get back with all of the analysis thereafter. So sit back, hold on. Here's your first game of the evening. Ooh, a little bit slow. So there you go, guys. Cannon FC v Stepney. It was a 1-1 draw. Do you know what? We had what I think was the hottest summer that we had for some 15 years, and that looked like the wettest pitch to start the season with. But anyway, a good result for Cannon FC, I have to say. They've come up. Their first game was against the league champions, and they held them to a 1-1 draw. So a credible result. I'm going to turn to you, cameras, for the first punditry of the season. Good evening again. Cannon FC, a 1-1 draw against Stepney. I mean, you won't want to read too much, you know, not a lot happens in the first game of the season, but a fair result.
It is very early, but I mean, you know, against the champions, against one of the best teams in the division, it is a good result. And I think Cannon obviously have a point to prove coming up by default. They want to be in the Premiership, they want to remain there, but they also want to stake their claim and make sure that they've earned it as well. So I think they've got a point to prove.
Absolutely. I spoke earlier in the introduction about it being a leaner, meaner and tougher league. And I think personally now, with the way that the two divisions are structured, it is a lot stronger.
I believe so, as particularly the Premiership. The 10 teams there in the Premiership now are very, very strong. Yes, we're going to have an old result where there's a 5-0 or 7-1, but I think on the whole, we're not going to have a repeat of the last few seasons where, you know, some teams have flown away with 10, 12 goals. That's not going to happen. That's
very true. And Rashid, you've probably got more experience of Cannon than most, having competed against them last season. Is that a fair reflection of how they can perform?
I spoke to about the manager of Cannon United, and he told me he's looking forward to the season. He's actually recruited a lot of players this season to prove that they are one of the tough teams. But I saw the highlights of the game, and I was there for a few minutes, but I think Stepney just took the foot off the gas. And Cannon, being Cannon, they were resilient and wanted to prove a point and fought back until they actually got a draw. So it's a credit to Cannon, but on the long term, I'm not sure where they'll finish in the campaign, but definitely top 5 would be my prediction for Cannon.
Well, let's talk about Stepney. I remember at the beginning of last season when we were talking about Stepney, and there was a lot of talk about an ageing squad and could they hack it with the young boys, and they shut everybody up. Well done, Stepney. They shut everybody up. Here they are again this season, a 1-1 draw. We can't read too much into it. You know, it's early days, but would you put them as early season favourites for the league again?
Definitely one of the favourites. They've proven that year in, year out. They didn't have the best of summer in terms of footballing wise, but they've regrouped, and I'm sure they'll be successful. And I think they'll be one of the 3 teams to actually challenge for the title, in my opinion. And
they have strength in depth, cameras. I mean, we'll speak about the Division 1 in a little while, but they have strength in depth, so the future looks bright for Stepney.
They do. I mean, we say they're aged and they're aging, but these bunch of players have played together for years, so they understand one another's game very, very well. And sometimes in football, it's the understanding that gets you places rather than, you know, the strength of the squad or the age of it.
That's it. That's the first highlighted game that we have for this evening. But let's just talk a little bit about the league as it is now. I mean, it's no surprise that some teams have gone on to pastures new, and some have stuck with the ILFL, which is a tried, trusted and established league that's been here for many years and is still the league to be in and competing. We've got 10 teams playing in the division this season, and we spoke about Stepney probably being one of the other favourites. We're going to look at the results a little bit later, but we can talk about one or two of the other teams that are doing well. Tigers came up. We spoke a lot about Tigers last season. They came up as champions. They took on Ireland, who had a mixed season last season in the Premiership, and we all thought that Tigers were going to walk in and make a statement, and it was an incredible 8-goal thriller. It ended up 4-4 between London Tigers and Ireland. What do you make of that, Rashid?
I think Tigers will have a definite challenge this year. I know last season they actually were quite strong compared to the teams they were playing against, but this year with the big boys, they will have it tough. They won't have it easy, and I think Ireland showed that. I think in the last 9 seconds, Tigers managed to get the equalising goal, otherwise they're actually losing 4-3. So it just goes to show how tough the Premiership is going to be. And Ireland are a good team as well. They finished 3rd last season. So Tigers, they need to obviously up the game and not think about too much about last season. This isn't going to be tough for them.
I even actually heard that Tigers were 3-1 down at one stage in that game and had all but given up. There was a notable big winner in the division yesterday, and that was Bromley, who managed an impressive 7-1 victory against Newark. Newark not starting very well, but Bromley have set the stall, and a fluke result?
No, I spoke to Shafi, who's the manager of Bromley, and last season was very disappointed. Being one of the biggest clubs in East London, not challenging for the league, was very disappointed. So this season, they set the stalls up early on and made sure the players are signed up, etc. And right from the beginning, they wanted to make a statement to all the other teams that this season is their season. And let's see what happens later on.
Two other games were played in the Premier Division. One of those we've got highlighted, which is Brick Lane v Beaumont. And we're going to see that in the second part of this show. So don't go away. Come back to NTV and watch the second part of the ILFL Soccer Night. We'll see you in a little while.
You are watching ILFL Soccer Nights.